Hey friends, in today's video, I am sharing my honest thoughts on All About Spelling Level 2. We've now completed both the Level 1 and Level 2, and we are currently working our way through Level 3, so I feel like I have really had a chance to get to know the program and see how it works over time. So I will kind of walk you through what's included, what kinds of things your child will learn during the Level 2, and what has worked well for us, what didn't, and whether I would recommend this going forward. And then of course, I will share how we are using it now and what I am considering next. So if you are wondering whether All About Spelling is worth the investment, or maybe you are just looking for a solid spelling curriculum that actually works, I hope this video will help. So let me start by saying we didn't actually start All About Spelling in the beginning of our journey like most people probably do. We came to it a little bit later once we had spent a year really building confidence in handwriting. So my daughter already had a pretty good basic handle on spelling skills, but I really wanted to make sure we weren't missing anything. So we decided to start with Level 1 last year instead of just kind of jumping ahead. So I am really, really glad that we did that. Even though she knew a lot of the material, going back to the beginning actually gave us both confidence, and it really helped us find a solid rhythm with how the program actually works. And because of that foundation, we actually moved through Level 1 and Level 2 pretty quickly. Now, it wasn't rush, it just kind of flowed. So if you're wondering if starting with Level 1 is too easy, or if you're worried about going back, things like that, definitely stick around to the end because I will talk a little bit more about that. All right, so what do you actually get in Level 2? So first, you'll get the teacher's manual, which is fully scripted, very open and go. It tells you exactly what to say, what to do, and how to walk your child through each part of the lesson. I really appreciate that because I actually don't have to do a whole lot of lesson prep from scratch. It's just kind of all laid out. And then there is the student pack. Now, this is kind of the activity book, right? And then there are some rule cards, some phonogram cards, that kind of thing. You'll also need letter tiles and magnets if you don't already have them, or you can download the Letter Tiles app. Those are all kind of part of what they call the interactive kit. Now, we used the Tiles app in the beginning. Turns out we actually didn't need it. We'll talk about that later. But finally, there is the spelling review box. Now, this is used to organize all the cards that you're reviewing over time. The box is super helpful for keeping things consistent, but I will say it's a little bit big. Like, there's a lot of space here, and so the cards, they can like slide down and they get out of order. It's not a deal breaker, but it is kind of one of those small little things that just gets really annoying to deal with every day or every lesson. So anyway, Level 2 builds directly on Level 1. It adds 43 new phonograms, introduces vowel teams like EE, OU, AW, and it does start to get into kind of some trickier syllable types and spelling rules. There is a focus on breaking words into syllables, understanding open and closed syllables, and working with multi-syllable words. Your child will also learn more rules, like why English words don't end in I, J, U, or V, and everything is taught in a really, really intentional way with plenty of review, okay? So it does actually stick. One thing that I really appreciate is how often the program kind of circles back to reinforce what's already been learned. It doesn't assume that just because a rule was taught, your child will always remember it. They're kind of always constantly reviewing and applying it in new ways. Each lesson is pretty simple to follow, and it kind of goes through the same basic structure every time. You start with a little bit of a quick review, usually with those flashcards and maybe some spelling words from earlier lessons. Then you introduce the new concept, and your child practices spelling words using those letter tiles or maybe even just writing them down. My daughter chose to just write them all down in a notebook. Then there's often a suggestion for an activity from the student book. Some of those are like a cut and paste kind of game style, which does make it feel a little more fun and a little less like a worksheet. And then you wrap up with dictation, where your child writes phrases or sentences that then reinforce that new concept again. Now let's talk about what really worked well for us. First, this program is solid. It works. My daughter's spelling improved noticeably, and more importantly, she became more confident in her writing. The program is super comprehensive. It teaches the why behind spelling, so it's not just memorizing lists, and that deeper understanding really has helped and made a difference. I do love how the lessons build each time. Each level kind of flows into the next, and it doesn't feel like you're constantly having to start over. It feels like you're just kind of building on the things that make sense. As a parent, I appreciated how easy it was to adjust. We were able to go at our own pace and really kind of speed things up as we needed to. And then at times when we needed to slow down, it was very easy to do that as well. Of course, no curriculum is perfect. All About Spelling is very parent intensive. You do need to be sitting right there, reading the script, kind of guiding your child through each lesson. This is not something that you can just kind of hand off and walk away from. Also, if you want to do those kind of games and activities from that student book, there is some prep work. Now, it's not a ton, but it is enough, and you really have to make sure that you're planned ahead and you do all the cutting and pasting and all of that if you want the lessons to go smoothly. And then, like I mentioned with the spelling box, it is super helpful, but it does get a little cumbersome. Again, it's not a huge deal, just one of those little things that just kind of continually just nagged at me. So we are currently in level 3 and we're still using All About Spelling. It's continuing to work well for us, but I will be honest, I'm starting to notice something about my daughter. She doesn't actually really need a lot of those extras. The multi-sensory pieces were nice kind of when we started, sort of, but now that she's older and more confident, I'm finding that we actually just prefer like short, sweet, to the point kind of lessons. So I'm actually considering switching to something maybe that's a little more streamlined after we finish level 3. Now, this is not because All About Spelling is not good. It is wonderful. It's just I have learned how she learns best, and of course I want to honor that. Oh, and before I go, I have had people ask if it's okay to just start at your child's current grade level, or if you really kind of need to begin with level 1. I will say that is a great question, and I actually have a lot of thoughts on that, especially after now seeing how it has worked out in our own homeschool. So actually in my next video next week, I will be talking about that decision, why we decided to start at the beginning, what we gained from it, and why I truly believe that even your older kids can benefit from starting with level 1. So if you are on the fence or you're trying to decide where to jump in, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that video. Overall, All About Spelling Level 2 was a win for us. It is thorough, it's effective, and it is really well thought out. If your child needs structure, review, and just a clear path to understanding spelling, not just memorizing words, this really is a great option. It does require time and consistency, especially from the parent, but the results are worth it. Of course, if you guys have any questions, drop them down below in the comments. I would love to chat with you, but that is it for today's video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon.